Music has been the voice of anti-war messages for decades, where musicians can express their concerns regarding military conflicts. However, it seems the ones who are the most vocal about this message are both the rock and metal scenes. We have seen a significant amount of rock and metal songs discussing the problems of war throughout time, and this message is still relevant in those genres today. In 2020, System of a Down released 2 new songs after 15 years due to the Nagorno-Karabakh war. And in 2022, Pink Floyd released a new song in support of Ukraine during the Russian invasion. Which begs the question, why are anti-war songs so common in rock and metal? There is a war in particular that changed rock culture and has an important place in music history, the Vietnam War. The 1960s saw the birth and rise of the hippie movement, which stood against society's traditional values and promoted peace and love, as its well-known slogan goes. This movement eventually spread into the music field. During the 1960s, many rock bands were inspired by hippies and adopted a more psychedelic sound into their music. It also helped that one of those bands were none other than the Beatles, arguably the biggest band in music history. The Beatles often protested the Vietnam War, and they were vocal about it in their song Revolution. John Lennon spoke against the war more than his bandmates by releasing songs such as Imagine or Give Peace a Chance, and held both Begging for Peace events with his wife Yoko Ono. Many bands wrote songs against the Vietnam War, and one song stood out, Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival. The lyrics denounced the political and military elite taking profit from the Vietnam War. Fortunate Son was covered numerous times and used in tons of manifestations. Ever since the many chanted messages opposing the Vietnam War, rock music has become a comfortable place to speak out against military conflicts, as bands would discuss war issues in their lyrics. We can name songs such as The Clash's Spanish Bombs, which speaks against the Spanish Civil War, Queen's Hammer to Fall, which speaks against the Cold War, and The Cranberries' Zombie, which speaks against the Northern Ireland conflict, aka the Troubles. We have talked about anti-war songs in the rock scene, but what about the metal scene? Well, it turns out that metal is just as, if not more, vocal about spreading the anti-war message. A lot of the hippie influence in rock was carried to the metal genre as well. Like the Beatles did for rock, Black Sabbath, the band considered to be the fathers of heavy metal, has written their emblematic song War Pigs. Like Fortunate Son, the message behind War Pigs denounces the elite taking advantage of the poor in wars. However, Black Sabbath is by far not the only influential metal band to write anti-war lyrics. Iron Maiden, Motorhead, Judas Priest, and so many others have written one anti-war song. And Metallica, the biggest name in the history of the genre, wrote countless anti-war songs throughout their discography, with songs such as From Whom the Bell Tolls, Disposable Heroes, One, Blackened, or Fight Fire with Fire. This shows how actively vocal metal musicians are towards the topic of war. The anti-war message is expressed not only musically but visually as well. We often picture metal musicians and metalheads with long hair and rebellious outfits, as they do not have any interest in search of conformity. War and the army can be seen as a form of conformity for them. Besides, whether it is intentional or a coincidence, the image of the metalhead's long hair opposes the image of the soldier's shaved head. It is interesting to notice that these genres, often considered by many as violent and devilish, have a long and rich history of calling out the atrocities of war. And it is likely that we may see many more rock and metal anti-war songs as time goes by. We may see a rise of the anti-war message being spread through other genres in the future, but for now, both the rock and metal scenes remain the dominating places where musicians express their concerns about war.